Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. Get your questions ready, get them in the comments section, and let's have a wonderful discussion this morning. And also, we do Decklist review. So if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, you would like to, or you want to share a spicy brew, we're welcome to everything. So get ready for that. So welcome, brew up your cup of coffees, everyone. And let's brew up some magic. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for March 10th of 2021. I am your host, of course, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. Oh, everyone is ready today. Good morning, Cole, Frederick, Matsia, Papa Joe, Rebecca, MTG Ectoplasm, Adam, Steve, Steven. It's not Coffee and MTG if it isn't a few minutes late. Exactly, that's right. I might have been on time, but, well, I have a pretty crappy excuse. Good morning, Hoax, James, Andreas, Mark. Lord Magicus is here. There is no on time for this show. That's right. Peyton. Oh, well, there's like sort of, I think I got it set up by 9 o'clock. So you can see that something's about to happen. Morning, Peyton, Jack, Chris. The Iron Warlock says, greetings to everyone. It feels good to be back at this hour after the work week. All right. It ain't a stream if Nikachu weren't on time. That's right. I'm fashionably late. I don't know. Maybe there's some bonus to it having some variables time to start at. Sometimes it never starts early. I'll tell you that much. Sometimes it starts at 9, but usually it doesn't. Good morning, Sam, Endgame, Andrew, Georgios, Benjamin. Chris says, Nikachu is never late, and Nikachu is never early. He arrives exactly when he plans to be. Exactly. Dr. Glass Bottle. Good morning, Nikachu. How long have you been playing Magic? I've been playing, according to my DCI tournament history, since 1999. But I think I might have been even playing a little bit earlier than that, because 1999 is when I started playing Magic. Sorry, playing Magic tournaments, but I think I played a little bit earlier than that, probably 1998. When I started playing. I remember Invasion just came out. So, I mean, let's look at like MTG Invasion release date. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. October of 2000. But I've been playing in tournaments since 1999. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I mean, okay, well, maybe I was playing when Invasion came out, but was I really playing almost a year before that? That seems a bit far-fetched. Was I really playing when only Nemesis was out? Maybe my memory don't serve me correct, or maybe my DCI history is bullshitting me. But we can't even verify anymore because they deleted the records. We don't got that anymore. Hey, welcome, Fremont. Welcome. Oh, an amazing avatar. Huge fan of Ness, Earthbound, the Mother series. I always play Ness and Lucas in Smash Brothers. So you got thumbs up. Welcome, Fremont. Good morning, Daryl. Good morning, Pablo. Good morning, Richard. All right. So Matthew says, asks, Nikachu, what game is closer to your heart, chess or MTG? Chess. I love Magic. Magic is great, but like my soul, my heart definitely belongs to chess. In my opinion, that is my favorite game. It is it's just brute skill. It's everything I like in a game, and it's insanely complicated, and there's this very long ladder to being the best. I'm not even close to being the best in the world. Not even close. I could put myself, in my opinion, in the top 500 in the world in Magic. I can't do that in chess. I'm not even close. It takes like at least 8 to 10 years of like constant training and playing in chess. And you have to start at the age of 7 if you want to be a top tier player. It's just crazy. So if you're new to the show, welcome. This is how it works. Give me 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments. However, if you are on YouTube, you can cheat the system with super chats, and your notification will pop up for me to help find your questions, and you basically beat the system. However, for donations, it seems like not all of them, but most donations under $3 don't give me a notification, but anything above that definitely does. I don't know why. I don't know why. But your question does pop out to me in the chat, but I don't get a notification, so I can find it immediately. Good morning, Adam. What is the best replacement in your opinion for Force Negation? Any counter spells? Deprive will do fine. Sometimes Spell Pierce if the metagame is good for it. Deprive, Mana Leak, any counter spells in my opinion. Just choose a counter spell. The Force Negation is a 2-for-1. You don't even want a 2-for-1 in a lot of matchups. If you're up against Burn, you don't even want this 2-for-1. Like, if there's a lot of Burn in the metagame, I'd replace Force Negation with maybe Dispel. And I might have to shove it in the sideboard because Dispel's a bit awkward, but it's a very fine replacement to Force Negation. Any counter spells are fine. Force Negation is grossly overrated. Best counter spell, but overrated. People think it's like Force of Will. It's not Force of Will, that's for sure. Zachary, what are your thoughts on Scapeshift's position in Modern after the most recent bannings? More playable than it was before. That's for sure. That's all I can say. I think Scapeshift has been playable for quite a while, but no one really wants to develop it. Like, especially when Uro was around. I'm surprised not more people tried to play like an Uro Scapeshift deck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure why people didn't try. I'm sure it was on the table, but, you know, there was just clearly better options with, like, Omnath, so no one wanted to really dive into it. But I think it's definitely playable. Mikey J, with more removal hitting the format, is Kira going to make a comeback in Modern Merfolk? It's possible, but only if there's more removal. Here's the thing. It's got to be... Kira is great against removal-heavy decks that are slow. That's very important. They need to be slow. But if they're fast, like Death Shadow or Is It Blitz, Kira's too slow. So even though I protect my board, I'm not interacting with my opponent, and I'm not counterattacking at all with Kira. So what we're talking about is Kira Great Glass Spinner. Here. This is the deal. So, like, Kira's great. Like, absorbs 2 spells, right? But the problem is Bad Body doesn't have any other Merfolk synergy. So Kira is very good against a lot of removal against a very slow deck. But if it is like the fast Death Shadow decks, like Prowess, like, you know, the Monastery Swiftspear's Shadow decks, or Is It Blitz, I don't think Kira even does very much. I think Kira is just going to get outclassed. You spend your 3rd turn playing Kira. Your opponent just, you know, aims all the bolt spells to your face and attacks you with a million Prowess creatures. I don't think it's going to work. So I don't know if Kira makes a comeback, because a lot of the attrition-based decks right now are also very aggressive. It's been so long. We gotta get that coffee out. Get the coffee out. Everyone, get your coffees out. What do you think about Go? I think that. Okay, well, I'll just quickly get Go game. It's even called Go, right? It's only in North America. I'll just briefly talk about this. I don't play the game because it wasn't popular in it's not popular in North America, and then a little bit of time that I was in Europe, it's not very popular there either. It's just mostly popular in Asia. But this appears to be like the ultimate game. Like, this is the game of all games, of all strategy games. It's too bad. I mean, I think I would really like it, but I don't play it because it's just grossly unpopular around here. But it looks like I think I can't say chess is like the best game in the world. It's the best game in the world for me, but I actually believe that Go is probably the best like strategy game in the world. Papa Joe MTG, Nikachu concerning tournament magic. How do buys work if the DCI has been discontinued? Well, the DCI never was in charge of the buys, I don't think. Well, I don't really know how the buy system works. It was just Wizards of the Coast counting your Planeswalker points. But now we don't have buys. They said you're not going to get any. We don't get buys anymore. Or is it that we don't get buys anymore? What is the rules around buys? I think they just they abolished it all. Is it that there are no tournament? We can't earn buys at F&M, or is it that we can we earn buys at all anymore? Like, we haven't had tournament magic for so long, like GP magic. I don't even remember anymore what the rules are. I want to say, like, we can't earn buys, period. Oh, yeah, I think we cannot earn buys, period. Planeswalker points are worthless. The last time I remember, Planeswalker points were just complete garbage. But anyway, that's how it used to work. Like, if you earned X number of Planeswalker points, then you got buys to, like, GPs. But, like, anyway, so now that the DCI has been discontinued, I don't think that changes anything. Yeah, buys are just completely gone. But I couldn't remember if you can still earn them the day of the GP. I just couldn't remember that. because that was a good money generator. I mean, if you're ever at a Grand Prix, you're going to see tons of people fighting for buys at that Grand Prix. That's a huge money generator. And like the prizes are garbage because the genuine prize is the buy. So it was good. It was good money for the tournament organizers. Yeah, Planeswalker points are gone. Poof. Okay. Good talk, people. Good talk. Get back to where I am here. Magic is a lot about luck more than skill. I wouldn't say that, but it's a higher variance game. Like your skill matters a lot in Magic. Matters enough that like you can I think you can consistently make more top 8s in Magic than you can make like the final table in poker tournaments. There's enough skill in Magic. There's a good chunk of skill. There's a lot of luck, of course, but I think there's a good chunk of skill. Last of Us Chips, would one of your goals be to make it to the MPL or Rivals League? Nope. I'm not even remotely concerned or interested in any of that stuff. I think it's worthless. I mean, I would love to be paid some salary by Wizards of the Coast. That'd be great. But for the most part, I really don't care about those things. You need to just grind constantly to be on top of your game. It's something, one thing I like about Modern is I don't have to constantly grind to be like to be in shape, to be up to date with the meta game. Whereas like when you're playing formats like Standard, you most definitely do. It's a lot of playing, and it's not really the lifestyle I'm looking for. Not the lifestyle I'm looking for. What's your favorite video game? Super Hexagon. When I love this game, I absolutely love this game. The pictures don't do the game justice. You have to find a video on it. I used to have records for this game. I was in like I had the #1 slot in a lot of, it's like an arcade game basically. But what I like, I like really hyper complex, difficult games, this was up my alley. It doesn't look hard from whatever you see right now, but go watch a video on it and you'll find out that this is painfully difficult. But I loved it. Oh, Rafał with the super chat. Thank you very much, Rafał. What do you think about Mardu in Modern? I'm making a mid-range token deck, Dark Confidant or Bedlam Reveler. So, first off, I think Mardu in Modern perfectly fine. I've seen a lot of lists try to use Stoneforge Mystic because I think that makes a lot of sense. Bedlam Reveler or Dark Confidant? I'm less confident in Dark Confidant. Very confident in Bedlam Reveler, but you're welcome to try both of them. There's like just so many tools that Mardu has available because we know Rakdos. I mean, I know so you want to make it more of a mid-range token deck. Probably Bedlam Reveler would work in that shell, right? So you like play Lingering Souls turn 3, and then eventually you play Bedlam Reveler, and also you could, if you play Seasoned Pyromancer, you can discard things like Lingering Souls and get some value. So it's totally fine to be playing with Mardu. I don't know how heavy you want to be on the token strategy though. Don't be too heavy on the token strategy. I think between Lingering Souls, Seasoned Pyromancer, it's a good number of tokens. Oh, but also you can play with what's it called, Young Pyromancer. That's perfectly fine as well. Thank you very much for the super chat. Daniel asks, good morning. I'm actually catching you live for once. Welcome to Coffee and MTG. Get that coffee ready. What happened to Devoted Druid combo in Modern? What kept it from being tier 1, and could it get there someday? It most definitely can come back. It's being held back mostly by... Okay, well, there's two things. I mean, there's now another... So there's two factors. First, there is a lot of removal in the format. Just straight up. There's a lot of removal. Very hard to fight through all of it. And it is a creature combo deck that requires, Devoted Druid and Vizier of Remedies to stick on the battlefield. And Devoted Druid needs to have haste or something. And so whenever you have Devoted Druid on the battlefield, you basically have to wait a turn before you can actually combo off. Yeah, I know there's some situations where you can cast it and get haste or whatever. But for the most part, you got to wait a turn. So it's not an immediate combo. But it's competing with another combo. It's competing with Heliod Company. So this is a sort of a problem. if you want to play a green-white combo deck, which do you play? Do you play the Devoted Druid deck, which is hard to win, or you play with the Spike Feeder Heliod Suncrown combo deck, which can win on the spot immediately, basically through infinite life? Oh, Archangel Thune is coming back. I guess as a way of... I bet this is like an online thing. It's just a way of not only gaining infinite life, but also presenting infinite power on the battlefield. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So this is just a way of closing games out online, because infinite life doesn't necessarily mean an actual victory. But I think it's competing with this deck. So like if someone wants to play a green-white combo deck, they might be looking at this one instead. That's all. Could it make a comeback someday? It absolutely could make a comeback someday, especially when the removal sets aside, and maybe there's some weakness in the Heliod deck that is not hit by the devoted devastation deck. Daryl says, aside from chess, what other board games do I play? What other board games? I think that's it. I think that's all I play. I play chess. I play Magic. If you consider that a board game, it's a tabletop game. I think those are all the serious like board games I play. I don't even look at like chess as a board game. Mikey J, I've been a proponent of Modern being about speed / buying time. In your opinion, is this going to change after these bans? I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because Modern most definitely is one of the more clunkier of all the formats. Like, it's very powerful, but it's very clunky. So long as you like ban the stupid cards that, like, you know, the free mana stuff. So being able to be a little bit faster, get ahead of the clunk, or buy time so that your clunky strategy can, like, you know, go off. You're sort of right about this. You got the right idea that this is what Modern is about. I don't think I think it becomes more about that after the bans, because okay, one part of the bans was Uro, so that was a slower part of them. Here's the thing about Uro, interestingly enough. In theory, you would think it supports mid-range strategies to support games going slower, but it doesn't, because the non-Uro strategies... Let's get Uro on the screen here. Because here's the thing, the Uro wiped out all the other mid-range decks, wiped out all the other slow decks. So no other slow deck could compete with Uro. So what does that leave? Fast combo decks and fast aggro decks. So actually, Uro sped the format up. So it was actually a bad thing. It ended up... You would think it should make the format more mid-rangey, but it didn't. It promoted people to be even faster, because you have to race the Uro, or just combo off before Uro gets too much value and then controls you out. So actually, I think and then after they ban things like Tybalt's Trickery, I think we go back into that like slow, clunky metagame where what Modern is known for, or like, you know, it is still about speed. Like, you do want to be as fast as possible. Hence why decks like Is It Blitz, Is It Prowess are still doing very, very well. But you also need to still... it's clunky enough that it is about buying time. I do think we go more back to the original direction with the bans. 27 Noetic asks, good morning. Is E-Tron better positioned now with the bans and all the Swift Spear variants, or is it still bad? No, it's gaining in metagame percentage fast. So this is after 24. What is this? After 30 days. So Eldrazi-Tron is making a comeback already at 2.4% of the metagame. But I think if we even shrink it down to the last 2 weeks, oh, it's doing worse. Whatever. It's doing better than it was before. Eldrazi-Tron is making a bit of a comeback. The Eldrazi-Tron specialists that I follow on Twitter are posting more wins, more victories. You got some good matchups up here. Like, I think they sort of like their Hammer Time matchup because of the main deck Chalice of the Voids. Same thing, main deck Chalice of the Void hits Burn, hits Jund Death Shadow, hits Tron a little bit, hits Blitz hard, and hits Mill hard. So Chalice of the Void doing okay against these top decks. I think you're going to be happy with Eldrazi Tron right now in the metagame. Are the price in Mana Traders in Canadian or US? I think the price is in ticks, and the ticks are in... Oh, you mean the price of the subscriptions? I believe they're in US dollars. They're in US dollars. We're talking about the price of the decks that, like, it quotes. I believe that is in ticks, which is also still in US dollars. Do you name Nemesis in Legacy Spirits? I guess it's possible. I mean, I don't play that much Legacy and forget Spirits in Legacy, but I guess it's possible. The Iron Warlock. How do you post deck lists at site like MTG Goldfish, etc.? Do you need to play Magic the Gathering online to do that or not? No, absolutely not. So what you can do, because I have deck lists posted, so you have to make it. You just have to first. You have to make an account. What is it? Then you go like, okay, you have to go log in. So you log in, and then you're gonna have access to making deck lists. I don't remember what is it in tools. See like my decks. Deck pricer. I think you go to like my decks and then you log in and then you have the ability to make decks on MTG Goldfish if you want to do that. If you're trying to make like a deck list for deck list review or even for your own library. Mark Sorrells asks, do you believe modern humans can still win tournaments? Yes, but it's just not as well positioned as it used to be. I feel like there's room to innovate the humans list. Like people don't want to. The humans had such a good shell, no one wants to change it. I bet there is some room to change something. I don't know what the weak link is, whether it's meddling mage, Kiteseal freebooter. I bet there's something that could like change to make it better positioned in the metagame. It's still a really, really good deck. David asks, you said you used to play Mono Blue Tempo in Standard. Are you referring to Ixalan's Mono Blue Tempo or previous Standard? I said Devotion. Mono Blue Devotion, so I can show you. Goldfish, Nikachu. This is it's a really old-fashioned list. We're talking like... Here's a 6-0 I had in a Standard Premier event. This is like the challenges before I think they were called challenges. This was the list. This is Mono Blue Devotion in Standard. Like this looks, if you look at this list, it's very similar to Merfolk. You got one drop, you got your Curse Catcher here. Look, they have a Champion of the Parish. Unfortunately, it starts off as a damn 0-1, which sucks. If only this was a 1-1 with Evolve. Now we're talking. Frostburn Weird, Tidebinder Mage, Nightveil Spectre. We got Thassa and Master of Waves in the same deck. How can you go wrong? And can a similar deck be playable in Modern? Like, people have tried this, but it's just like... Well, let's just say it has better chances in Pioneer than it does in Modern. If you go to in Modern, you might as well just be playing Merfolk. No, but like, there are some people trying Blue Devotion strategies. There's a few people in the Merfolk community that are trying to make Blue Devotion work. And they've got something going. Ben Golan asks, what is a budget hate card in ticks against prowess? I can build a sliver deck with my 150 loan program with minimal cuts, but I'm missing a chalice replacement. All right, everyone. So I'm assuming you're playing Merfolk. I think you're playing Merfolk. We're going to use the community's help here. What do you think are good budget cards, online budget cards against prowess? That's going to be like the question of the day. Practically. I can think of like Damping Sphere is like okay against prowess, not great. Oh, here we go. Dallas suggests Damping Sphere. We have Spell Pierce. Damping Sphere suggestion. Oh, you said Slivers? Slivers it is. Oh yeah, you're right. Slivers deck. Okay, whatever. A tribal deck, not Merfolk. All right, so a Slivers deck. Damping Sphere might be your best bet. I have a feeling this is a 5-color Slivers deck. Engineered Explosives. You might blow up your own stuff. Yeah, playing Slivers. I didn't read it properly. I wouldn't say Path to Exile is that great against prowess, because you like ramp them up. I think Damping Sphere might be your best bet. It slows them down enough. Oh, does Plague Engineer work versus them? Propaganda is actually not Modern legal. I know this because I wish I could play this in Merfolk. I don't mind Ghostly Prison Effects. Not legal in Modern. Not illegal. I think... Oh, Dragon's Claw is not a bad suggestion. I could take that one. Yeah. I think your best bet are things like Dragon's Claw, which are like very cheap, and Damping Sphere, which is very cheap. Like this is a good. These are good. These are good cards for a Slivers deck. I'll use the Damping Sphere. Thanks, everyone. You're welcome. Like I'm not in love with Damping Sphere, but like it does slow them down. It does slow them, but they like can still play spells on their turn, your turn. Just it is what it is. Waves with the super chat. Thank you very much, Waves. What are your thoughts on Terramander in Blue Moon? Terramander has one big weakness, and that is that it's a 1/1 creature from the start. So actually, I am not a huge fan of this card in Blue Moon. If it was a 1/2 creature, that could be a completely different story. It's not terrible. Like this is not a badly. This is not the worst idea to play in your Blue Moon deck. You could definitely splash it for fun. It would be competitive. It would work. But the largest problem I have with Terramander is that it's literally a 1/1 creature, very vulnerable to. Like someone might even side in Plague Engineer against you, so that you would never, and they would just name Drake, and then you would never be able to cast your win conditions unless you killed the. Unless you killed the Plague Engineer, which I guess you can. You're a Blue Moon deck. Not a fan of 1 toughness. 1 toughness is rough. Gets hit by Lava Dart, Gut Shot, Walking Ballista. A lot of decks can just snipe this stuff down. And it dies before you have the ability. Well, I mean, in some cases, you have the ability to adapt, right? So you'll play the Terramander, they'll go for Gut Shot, then you'll adapt. Or it can come to a situation where if you try to adapt, then they try to snipe it off in response. But it's okay. It's okay. You definitely could play this. You could definitely play this. It's not a bad card. It's not a bad card in Blue Moon. In fact, this probably, if there's a deck that this card can be jammed in, it's probably Blue Moon. All right, let's get back to the questions. Do I drink at Timmy's because I am a Timmy? The real questions. Well, I don't think so. It's okay. Timmy, the Canadian Timmys are different from Magic Timmys. People don't know. We have like in Canada, one of the more popular coffee brand chains is called Tim Hortons. They're also known as the Timmys. Papa Joe MTG, with the current power level of Modern getting near the power level of 2014 Legacy, have we reached the point where Modern is also a pet deck format? Modern has always been a pet deck format. Like people have been playing pet decks since Modern's inception. And in fact, like I think Modern is more of a pet deck format because your pet deck, generally speaking, could compete in Modern. Whereas in Legacy, like there's a threshold for what can even go 5-0, and anything below it can't. Whereas with Modern, there's a lot of room for a lot of pet decks to go 5-0, make top 32 of Modern challenges. I would say that. But I don't know how you're going to define it as a pet deck format. But I would say Modern as a pet deck format is more playable and competitive than it is in Legacy. You were so sick of losing to Cat Combo. I don't know what this is in reference to. Stop playing against Cat Combo. I know that's not good advice, but that's the advice I'm going to give. Garner asks, I haven't seen you post an updated list of merfolk, or am I just blind? Well, the deal is I haven't made a sideboard guide in a while because I haven't been playing as much, and I haven't been winning with merfolk for like 3 months. But my lists are generally updated within my Discord. So if you're like a supporter of the channel, Patreon, Twitch, whatever, I do have updated lists to what I'm doing in my Discord. But I should post some stuff online to just say what I'm running. But also, you can just look at my latest leagues to see what I'm doing. Fremont asks, have you played Celeste? Because if you haven't, I think you would really enjoy it based on your being a fan of Super Hexagon. I've never heard of it. Try not to waste my time these days, but interesting. I like the graphics. Is this like I Want to Be the Guy? Because I was a huge fan of that game as well. This looks like I Want to Be the Guy. I think I would enjoy this. It's a mobile game? If it's a mobile game, I might buy it. Oh, they should get I Want to Be the Guy on mobile, but that would be so fucking hard to play. Anyway, I won't spend too much time on the stuff that some people have no idea what's going on. I don't know. I'm gonna write this down though, if it's that good. Celeste. Rebecca says, struggling this morning, need to get my coffee from downstairs. Have wished to train the cats to bring me the coffee. No luck so far. It's very hard to get the cats to do anything. The cats usually do it the opposite way. What are your thoughts on Wizards Universe Beyond and all the crossover cards? Great question. Okay, so first off, let's talk Lord of the Rings. I think I'm looking forward to Lord of the Rings. Let's be serious. Like, Lord of the Rings, I think, is more Magic than Magic the Gathering is at this point. You know, when I first got into this game, I thought it was more like this. You know, there's goblins and wizards and shit like that in a very medieval territory. And now Magic has turned into something weird with planeswalkers and, you know, it's not, it doesn't feel, they've completely distanced themselves from that medieval feel, which is what made Throne of Eldraine feel a little bit more like, you know, Magic the Gathering, as at least I used to remember it. So I'm looking really forward to this Universe Beyond version, where what they're going to do, they have not confirmed this, but it's very likely going to be the case that they're going to make unique Magic cards for Lord of the Rings. So there's going to be like a Frodo, maybe there might be Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, maybe Gandalf is going to be a Planeswalker. I mean, probably Gandalf is the closest we've got to a Planeswalker out of everything else. But the deal is that I think Lord of the Rings works very well with Magic the Gathering because it's like very close in theme. That's where it ends, though. When they start adopting like My Little Pony and maybe like, I don't know, Mario from Nintendo, I mean, they won't get the rights to that stuff. But the point is, like, they're going to start adopting really non-Magic stuff. I don't know that much about Warhammer, but I know enough that it apparently has nothing to do with Magic whatsoever. It's like it's more literally about war. And over time, they're going to just fill the game with all this weird crap that is very unrelated to the theme of like Magic the Gathering. Yeah, Soul Ring, one ring to rule them all. But it would be optimal if they were just taking the images and the names, like what they did with the Godzilla cards, but they're not going to do that. It's going to be like The Walking Dead. And so who's going to suffer? It's going to be people from Legacy, because these are going to be Legacy playable cards and Vintage playable cards, and the people in Commander. Like they're doing it in a way so that you can play with these cards outside the game. I don't like it, but I'm not going to quit the game over it. That's my opinion. I'm looking forward to this one. Maybe other people will, like, for example, like I talked about earlier, I like Earthbound. I like the Mother series. Let's look at Mother 3 or whatever. I like this stuff, but if they made these into Magic cards, I don't know if I would. I don't know. I'm not sure how much I would like that if they turned like Nintendo characters into like Magic cards. Maybe it's cool. I don't know. Maybe it's cool. I'm not a diehard Lord of the Rings fan, but I just know that this is like on theme. Like this can work. They could have a golem, legendary golem creature, you know? Whoever equips the One Ring is unblockable. You know, I can see that stuff. But anyway, so I think it's a bit stupid, but whatever. If they can bring more people into Magic, I guess it's going to be for the best. I just wish they did not. I wish these would be non-legal, like in competitive Magic. Like you can't play these in Pauper, you can't play these in Legacy, because I think the commons are also going to be legal in Pauper. I think they just don't reach Standard, which that means they don't reach Modern. So Modern's safe. Modern's safe with this. Jack is like, I would be so mad as a Legacy player if I had to slot Smeagol into my aggro deck, and if the One Ring was suddenly necessary for something like Dredge, it'd be like LED. It'll be better LED or something. And by the way, they already said that these cards, like from The Walking Dead, they are effectively reserved list cards. Like they're not printing them again. So I don't know if they're going to continue that same policy going forward with the rest of these Universe Beyond cards. Maybe they won't. Maybe they can print them to eternity, but they may in fact be like reserve list cards. which means they're going to be outrageously expensive in paper for those like legacy decks. Golem should be indestructible. Is he indestructible? Maybe, I guess. Guy lived for so long. Yeah, we need more Ricks. More Ricks, we say. Anyway, I'll get back to the questions as far as I can get back. Marco asked, metagame prediction for the mocks this weekend. I can't predict exactly what's going to happen. There has been like some shifts in the metagame. Maybe not big ones. I think the predictions I had for my top 10 decks to beat still somewhat stands. When I made that video, Amulet won a challenge, and then Death and Taxes won the Mana Trader series, and then they had a big representation over the next few days, but then it dropped off pretty hard. Death and Taxes, though, is still maybe one of the decks to beat. Amulet not. Mitch J with the super chat. Thank you very much, Mitch. Good morning, Nikachu. I totally hate these crossover cards. It feels like a blatant money grab. Well, I mean, that's exactly what they are. It's about making the money. Wizards need to make that money. Hasbro knows Monopoly is not going to do it. So yes, I mean everything Wizards does makes money. Crossover. I think in addition, they probably saw like some marketing strategy where doing crossovers with other fan bases brings attention to Magic, or brings attention to other categories of games. Fact of the matter is, most people don't even know what the fuck Magic is. Like, we are still living in a world where I tell people, like, what game do you play? I say, like, if someone asks me, like, what do I do? I'm like, I'm a YouTube streamer / gamer. And they're like, what game do you play? I play Magic. And they're like, what's that? And I still get that. Nobody knows what Magic is. Nobody knows what Magic is. I always have to say, do you know Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, Magic was the first card game like that. I'm like, do you know Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh? And like, then they understand. For whatever reason, like, no one knows what the hell Magic is. So anyway, this is their strategy to get attention. It's a money grab, but it's also trying to get the word out. Hey, fuck, we exist out here. And we've been out here for like 30 years. Wizards have been out here for 30 years. No one knows who the fuck they are. So that's the situation. Garner, thank you very much for the super chat, Garner. Same with Godzilla cards. They are effectively on a reserve list, as they would have to relicense the property, reprint them. No, not necessarily. You see, the Godzilla cards were literally regular Magic cards, but they just changed the name and the image, but they are still regular Magic cards. Like, let's look at Sprite Dragon. So here's the deal. Here's Sprite Dragon, right? So this is the difference. Sprite Dragon is a red-blue fairy dragon, flying haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. But then we've got the Godzilla version, Dorat the Perfect Pet, but still named Sprite Dragon at the top here, you see? For a blue and a red, fairy dragon, that hasn't changed. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. So that's fine, because they may never get the rights again, but that's okay, because the regular card still exists. The regular card still exists, and they can print this card for forever. But when you talk about Rick, can I find Rick on this site? I don't even know. I don't know. Here we go. Rick, Steadfast Leader. This is it. This is the only copy of Rick that exists. This will never get printed again. They literally said that we're not printing this again. That's the difference. See, the name Rick and the image was not put on a normal Magic card. Rick is its own Magic card. The Godzilla cards, they were put on top of normal Magic cards. The name and the image were just superimposed on regular Magic cards, which they can print to eternity. So if I need a double white 2 generic 3/4 creature that when it enters the battlefield, I can choose 2 abilities. Humans you control have each of those chosen abilities. Like, I need to buy this card. Now they said that they can reprint the same card in the future, like another double white 2 generic, name it something else. But the problem is, like, if you want a second copy, If the card was so good, then you could still get the second copy with Rick. Yeah, they could do an like I heard that on. Oh, they said that they can print an MTG version doing an Oracle update for them to work as Godzilla cards. Did they say that, or did they say? I mean, maybe I didn't catch that part because I heard that they can make a second version, but I assumed it would work like what's it called? Like as just a completely unique card. But maybe that makes a lot of sense if that's true. They'll make another version, just say that these two are Rick Steadfast Leader and this other card are effectively the same card. You cannot have more than 4 copies of either of them in your deck. That would work with me. Spirit Thally, it seems weird though. Imagine you have a Sprite Dragon and a perfect pet on the battlefield and your opponent casts Maelstrom Pulse. Not intuitive at all. There's a lot of shit not intuitive with Magic. It's it is a complex game, as people have criticized. It is a complex game. There's a lot of crap that's not very intuitive. So anyway, that's the problem. That's why people are calling, okay, with these Universe Beyond cards, please make them like Godzilla. Do not do this shit to us. And in the end, maybe they'll do that. Because so long as it's an actual Magic card, it feels right. It feels right. Antonin, what is the best modern budget combo deck? I want to play on Magic the Gathering Online, but don't want to play budget burn. Combo is my kink. You have 2 great options. Storm. Storm's less than $100. Storm is less than $100, and if you consider Dredge a combo deck, which I'm not supposed to... Oh, fuck, this is expensive. Wooded... Hold on. Let's go to Magic the Gathering Online. Wooded Foothills. What is costing so much money? Fucking Ox? Oh, the Arid Mesa? I don't know. Play without... Well, you sort of need the fetch lands. Okay, let's move away from Dredge. Let's look at Storm again. Storm! Storm, where are you? I know you're a budget deck. And you're a combo deck. Fuck, did I miss it? I can't go this far. Oh, here it is. Gift Storm. $98! So you can for the, You can get this on Arena? I don't think so. So for... Anyway, it's a super cheap deck. Look, it's all... The cards are worthless. The most expensive card seems to be Baral. Or Fiery Islet, I guess. For 1 Fiery Islet, $10. So you can even make this more budget if you get rid of the Fiery Islet. Maybe that's the point. You definitely can play a combo, and it's budget. And that's pretty damn good. You can make it cheaper if you make a cheaper mana base. Hope that is some help to you. All right, everyone, it's time. You know what time it is? It's time for deck list review time. So get your deck list ready. In the description, there is a link to my Discord. Go to my Discord, my beautiful Discord. There is a channel called Deck List Review. From there, use the command !review deck space, give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random to be chosen for deck list review. And as we wait for people to submit their deck list, we are going to thank our sponsors, starting with FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store, Canadian local game store, Canadian True. What is the deal of the week this week? Oh yeah, 35% trade-in bonus. So if you can send your cards into Fusion Gaming Online, they'd love your cards. You get an extra 35% in trade-in bonus for I think for store credit. That's what it is. You can get money or you can get trade-in bonus with store credit. Go for it. FusionGamingOnline.com. And also, if you purchase anything, don't forget, if you want to get Time Spiral Remastered pre-ordered, don't forget you can use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Get an extra 5% off all your purchases. It's wonderful. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online, and also just the best way to test out all your brews that you bring on deck list review. If like 20 cards don't work out, that's fine. Just send them back, rent another 20 cards. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save yourself 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Oops. Gotta bring this thing back. Dredge overall, I think, is relatively budget compared to other decks, though. When it comes to, like, if you're looking for some, like, aggro, Yeah, but Dredge is an aggro deck, exactly. Whatever, if it's an aggro deck, it's like pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap, and if you can like get some budget replacements to the fetch lands, it's very, very cheap. But then it makes what's it called? Worse, a lot worse. Life from the Loam. Garner says, I sent my list in yesterday, over $400 in credit. Look at that. Cha-ching! Any ideas for a modern sacrifice decks? A friend enjoys such decks. He also likes ad nauseum before the banning. I don't have any particular ideas how to make modern sacrifice works. How does Is It Prowess better than Death Shadow? It's fast. It's just blazingly fast, and they can keep their life total high. There is one thing. I mean, one thing that's holding back the Death Shadow decks a little bit is that Burn is very popular. And to an extent, like, Is It Prowess is also popular. So, I mean, look, Burn is, like, #1 here. I don't think it should be #1, but, like, Burn is doing really well. So, like, Death Shadow decks can't get too frisky with their life total. They're gonna screw themselves. All right. I think everyone submitted their list. Let's go check something out. Good luck, everyone. May the force be with you. Doom King, congratulations. You have a deck that says I have to read the description. Read the description, I will. Only red mana, but it's a black deck. Interesting. I'm rescuing a friend's Dredge deck. He's lost interest in MTG and gifted it to me. And it was pretty bad, so I started adding some cards I own, but I need some help. I don't like playing at 61, but I don't know what to cut. Don't worry, we can cut something. Easy. Okay, so it's like a Dredge deck. What is this, Legacy? I'm gonna just assume this just means kitchen tabletop, but I mean, I'll still think of things for the Dredge deck. So this is just only red mana, but it's a black deck. Right. Okay. Fisher Wizard. ETB. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Narcomoeba. Rick's Maddie Reveler. When enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If Rick's Maddie's Reveler's spectacle cost was paid, instead discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. 1 prized amalgam, 1 shambling shell. Hold on, what's the shambling shell? Sacrifice shambling shell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, but it has Dredge. Stinkweed Imp, Icarid, Hogak. Why don't you just play Dredge for the most part? You have Conflagrate, Dark Blast, Cathartic Reunion, Thrill of Possibility, Creeping Chill. Like, how hard is it just to play Dredge? Just play more Cathartic, like, you can play, okay, no, you got Cathartic Reunion, okay. You can play Thrill of Possibility. That's fine, too. Like, I would just say make a Dredge deck. Yeah, no Grave Troll. Like, Grave Troll is superior to this card. Golgari Grave Troll money? This is pretty cheap. Is it budget? How budget is budget? Tell me, what is your budget? Oh, this is really fucking budget. I mean, this is... Yeah, I've never seen a deck so damn cheap. Okay. So we need... It needs to be brutally cheap. If this is Legacy, it needs Grave Troll. What are the other Dredge cards? We only have, like... 1 Dredge card in here. We also have 1 Hogak. Wow, look at how far Hogak fell in price. Should blow your budget on Hogak. Manaless Dredge is sub 150. Fuck, this is sub 40. This is super cheap. This is the cheapest deck I've seen in forever. In fact, most of the budget is blown on Bridge from Below. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, put zombies on the battlefield. Yeah, cheaper than Pauper. So what do we do? What do we do? Okay. Okay. It's a very okay. First off, we need to cut something. Let's just say we cut Let's say we cut Prized Amalgam. You have nothing coming back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Like, almost nothing. Just a Hogak, right? So this is an easy cut. I'll just cut this thing, and maybe if I can change this deck enough, we'll bring it back. I don't even know how this deck functions. Cabal Therapy is way too much money, right? This is a budget. This is super budget, people. Look, $33. $33. There are fucking cards that single cards cost more money than that. Cut the Shambling Shell? I think this is one of the better cards in the deck. I think Prized Amalgam should go, because I don't know. Because aside from Narcomoeba, I don't know how anything comes back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Or what does Icrid say? Oh, Icrid can come back from the graveyard. Okay, so we have Icrid and Narcomoeba. That's not too bad, to be honest. Okay, so I would want to. Okay, first of all, in that case, I want to improve the Prized Amalgams. Let's remove. We need some discard outlets. We have Cathartic Reunion, Thrill of Possibility, one Conflagrate. How about we remove 2 Dark Blasts for 2 more Thrill of Possibility? Or at least 1 Dark Blast for a Thrill of Possibility, because we need more ways of like getting this crap in the graveyard. Nothing costs 1 mana. Well, what is how about that 1 card? What's the 1/1 red that makes you can discard a creature? Or you can discard a card. You can sacrifice him. Oh yeah, Faithless Looting is legal in this format. Is it really that expensive? Okay, here, Faithless Looting. Please, don't be intimidated by the 50 cents. It's like the best 1 mana spell you can play, period. There we go. We're on to something here. Now we're cooking with fire. We're cooking with fire. Okay, looting. We need looting. Screw these cards. Get rid of 2 Thrill of the Possibility, 1 Dark Blast, and 1, I don't know, Fisher Wizard. Actually, we don't need these things at all. Faithless Looting is just superior. And it's affordable. So actually, we can get rid of the Fisher Wizard. Okay, 1, 2, 3. A Dark Blast. No, we'll leave the Dark and 2 Thrill. To get rid of 2 Thrill of Possibility, a Fisher Wizard, and 2 Rick's Maddie Reveler. Because you said you're at 61 cards. Then that'll bring us down to 4 Faithless Looting, and we've got the number of cards. How much is Bloodcast? Bloodcast is $1 million. Oxabigonus is $1 million. But we get more Prized Amalgams, right? Oh, Prized Amalgam's expensive. Look, we're blowing the budget on Prized Amalgam. Is there anything else we can get from the graveyard? Okay, look, you need Prized Amalgam. Like, no Dredge deck is a Dredge deck without it. And I think we need more Hogaks. But what do I take out? Maybe 1 Dark Blast. Take out the Shambling Vent. 1, 2. We don't have actually much. I need to look for it, like Legacy Dredge, for some inspiration here. What are they balancing things with? Ashen Rider, Golgari Grave Troll. They have 1 Hogak, 3 Icrid, 4 Narcomoeba, 3 Putrid Imp, Stinkweed Imp. Faithless Looting. They have 4 Bridge from Below. They have 13 lands, though. How many lands does this deck have? 20 lands. Maybe too many lands. So maybe we can start cutting some lands. We might be heavy on lands, people. This list... Oh, this list does play like Lion's Eye Diamond, so let's consider that mana. And a Lotus Petal. Okay, so we actually have to consider that. So that's 5. It's 18 sources. Do you know what? So go down maybe 2 lands. How do we cast Hogak? You need like black and green creatures on the battlefield. There's no other way you cast this thing. This is for Legacy. I understand they play LED. I'm still cutting some lands so that we can play like more Prized Amalgams, in my opinion. I think that's all you can do. I think that would be your best bet. I mean, you use the red mana for... Or even you could... I don't know exactly how many things you cut. If you really need to bring in more card draw, you could use the Thrill of Possibility. But hands down, the Faithless Looting is going to make the biggest difference in this deck. So put that in the deck. And I would say try to get... Hold on, does this even use Prized Amalgam? They don't even use Prized Amalgam. Maybe screw this card. They don't use Prized Amalgam, so if they don't use it, you shouldn't use it. What is Putrid Imp? Gains Flying, Threshold. I can't see what this card does. Zombie Imp. As long as there's 7 or more cards in your graveyard, Putrid Imp gets +1/+1 and can't block. I guess the idea of this card is it's a black and... Oh, let me look up Putrid Imp. I guess the idea of this card... Oh, I get it. It's a way of... Oh, but you can't play this card because it costs 1 black mana. Oh, anyway. Hope that was some useful feedback. Faithless Looting. Definitely get that in there. Shriekhorn is fine too. Maybe Prized Amalgam still isn't that great, but it's playable. It's playable. Good luck with the list. Although I think here's another thing. How do you get your Hogak in play? Unless you have black creatures in play. And I think you need Prized Amalgam, right? You need more Prized Amalgams in order to cast this thing. Otherwise, it's never going to get cast. Because you need like green and black creatures to do it. So I would try to fit more Prized Amalgams in here. So if you have any intention of casting this Hogak. Otherwise, it's unplayable. You're welcome, Doom King. All right, moving on to the next deck list. Love it when we can find strict upgrades for decks. Headmaster04, congratulations, you're the next contestant on deck list review. Rakdos Death's Belcher. So this is Shadow and Char Belcher all in one. But how? Oh, this is like when Merfolk tried to play Belcher. Okay, so we've got like the normal suite of like Bomat Courier, Death Shadow, Monster Swiftspear, Croxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, Scourge of the Skyclaves. But we're using these Bolt lands to shoot our life total down. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Still have Dismember. How many lands do we have? Spells, Fatal Push, Inquisition, Lightning Bolt, Malakir, Rebirth, Spikefield Hazard, Thoughtseize, Shatterskull Smashing, Temur Battle Rage, Agadim's Awakening, Dismember, Valakut's Awakening, Hagra Mauling, which, by the way, these cards aren't even bad. You look at Spikefield Hazard, deals 1 damage to any target. Like, that's very playable. Same thing with Hagra Mauling. 4 mana, destroy target creature. That's also very, very playable card while still being a land at the same time. How many lands do we have here? 2, 5. It's hard to count because it doesn't give me an actual land count. 5, 9, 13, 17, 21. Okay, that's enough. Talisman of Indulgence. I'm not in love with this card. I'm not in love with this card. And you have 2 Goblin Charbelcher. I would rather have 4 Goblin Charbelcher, 2 Talisman. It would make, like, this makes your Charbelcher less clunky, but you don't even have any Charbelchers in your deck. And something you could mitigate the Charbelcher with is having something like Collective Brutality in your deck. So I might switch this up as like 4 Charbelcher, 2 Collective Brutality, so you can discard extra Charbelchers or whenever they're useless. Because you can discard cards, right? To get extra value. I like the idea, but like this ramp doesn't help anything else in this deck, right? Talisman just doesn't do anything. Except it deals damage to you. And I don't think ramping it to Charbelcher when you only have 2 copies in your deck is that worthwhile. I don't mind this, though. I really don't mind this. I don't know how many honestly, I don't know what the right number of Charbelchers should be. Maybe it should be 3. Because at 4, you can end up drawing multiples, and that's not good for you. But the rest of the deck is cool. I think this is a very... I have no idea. Any other suggestions, people? I don't think that the ramp is valuable in this list. Sculpting Steel? You may have Sculpting Steel enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield. That's not playable. There's no other artifacts to copy except maybe Bomat Courier. Baubles. Bauble. It's hard to justify Bauble in this deck. You don't need to fill the graveyard. There's no Gurmag Angler. There's no Lurrus to recycle it. And there's no Tarmogoyf that needs to fit, like, needs the artifact type in the graveyard. So I think it's just a waste of space. You're only losing 1 life at a time with Talisman instead of 3 per turn with the per turn with fetches. We don't have fetches here. But the point is, I don't want to tap out on turn 2 to play this ramp spell that has no other synergy with the deck. You know, Death Shadow does quite fine with what mana it has. It doesn't need any sort of ramp. The ramp is only here for Charbelcher, but we only have 2 copies of it, so I don't think it's worth it. Can't play Lurrus as a companion because Charbelcher is a 4-mana permanent. Anyway, I think if you're going to go out of your way to play Charbelcher, play more. And to hedge against... I think maybe we should have another Crocs in here. Maybe, I don't know, 1 to 2 more Charbelcher. Definitely play with Collective Brutality. That can also help gain you life when you've lost too much. That might be very relevant. And I think Collective Brutality is pretty good in the metagame right now. You know, great against Burn, great against Blitz, good against Azorius Control because you can take instants from them. Probably mediocre versus Heal-Aid Company. I think good against Death and Taxes. Useless against Dredge. Probably not that good against Tron. Well, it's getting worse the lower we go down here. Maybe it's not as hot as I thought it was. It's still a playable card though. And you can discard extra Goblin Charbelchers if you have them in your hand. You don't need to use. I don't think this would really work. Well, this person's gonna prove you wrong. I think Crocs is a great card. Yeah, we only have 1 Croxa here, but there's already quite a few creatures anyway. I wouldn't mind a second Croxa in the list somewhere. Another possibility, remove 4 Talisman, add 1 to 2 Charbelcher, 1 Croxa, and then some number of Collective Brutality. I just know this stands out like a sore thumb. Like, there's no point in this Ram card except for Charbelcher, but you don't even have that many Charbelchers in your deck to do this consistently, so it's pointless. You have a description, all right. Many of the spell lands have relatively decent abilities that are synergistic with that of the Rakdos Shadow deck. Malakor Rebirth works excellent with Bomat Courier, as well as being able to save your creatures. In addition, all your lands being spells make it physically impossible to flood out as you draw a spell every turn. Finally, this allows for Charbelcher to be able to win out of nowhere once your opponent has dealt with all of your threats. I totally agree. Nikachu, the Valentine's Heal-Aid art looks like Jesus, does it? I guess so. I can't look closer enough. I didn't even notice there's a heart on the belt with the heart. But yeah, that's the advantage of playing some of these lands. I think this is a great idea. I don't know how this is going to work in practice, like how much damage you're going to do to yourself. But I think this is very, very interesting. And yeah, you're going to draw gas for forever. Maybe Valakut Awakening is probably the worst card because you have to but it's at instant speed, so it's not that big of a deal. Swamp in the sideboard, is there? Oh, that's a neat suggestion. So Hobo Nugget says, put a swamp in the sideboard so that you aren't cold to Field of Ruin or Ghost Quarter. Some decks do that. Now, I won't say it's mandatory because some Charbelcher decks did that and then some didn't. Because there are some versions that are going to be like, there's going to be some decks you're going to be up against where they just Ghost Quarter you and they know that you can't get your Goblin Charbelcher off. And they know it's like Wasteland, right? But if you bring in your one of Swamp, all of a sudden it doesn't do anything. Maybe they'll even think that you took your Charbelcher out. Put a Mountain for Belcher instead. Deals double damage instead of Swamp. What do you mean? Oh, if the revealed land was a mountain, Goblin Charbelcher deals double the damage instead. Okay, gotcha. That's actually a good idea. So if we're gonna put a land in the sideboard, put a mountain, because you're gonna be up against sometimes like Death and Taxes, and they'll just strictly Ghost Quarter you immediately, and all of a sudden you're actually super far behind. Whereas if you side in the land, you don't set you actually set your opponent back. Because they Ghost Quartered, they lost a land. You got your mountain, and then you can just go about your business. What you remove, I don't know. You'll have to figure that out. Maybe if we put a Croxa in the main, you'll have room in the sideboard for one more Croxa. All right, sweet list. I think that's really cool. So that's going to be it for Decklist Review. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or Decklist, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, everyone. Central Standard Time. I'm always there for another conversation. If you want to know where the replays go to, they go to the YouTube channel Nikachu MTG Streams. So if you missed the earlier part of the show or you want to watch past shows, go find them all there. That's also where I post my gameplay videos. It's basically a VOD dump channel. If you want to support the channel, I mean, if you could do it with the super chats, of course. Thank you very much, everyone, for the super chats. But you could also, if you want to support me in other ways, you can do it by subscribing to twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. If you got Amazon Prime, you can support the channel for free. All you have to do is take the time to link your Prime account to your Twitch account. Boom! You can support either the channel or your favorite streamer for absolutely no cost to you because it's already been paid into your Prime. You could also become a patron on patreon.com/NikachuMTG if you love Coffee and MTG, or you can join on YouTube. The join button right beside the subscribe button. The lesser known of all the buttons out there. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up, being a part of the daily routine, being a part. Thank you very much. By the way, the show is nothing without you. What am I just doing, talking to myself? It's only a show because all of you show up and you're part of the conversation. So keep brewing up that coffee and we'll keep brewing up magic. See you next time.